Unlocking The Sims 3 University Life Achievements. Hello and welcome, this is Carrots. I've just come home from uni, and this is Carolyn. First of all, she cut her gems and put them away in the cabinet, and now she's going to smelt the metals that she brought home from university. Carolyn has graduated with a business degree. If she's got multiples of her metals, I take the extras out of her inventory because I've discovered you can't get her to do them one at a time any other way, and you only get one ingot, even if you have 1 or 6 or any other number of metals of the same type in her inventory. When she smelts, she'll smelt them all together and you'll just get one ingot back. I don't usually get my Sims to make things, I only get them to smelt their metals with this artisan machine. But today I thought Carolyn could make something as well. So here she is blowing glass, and she's going to make herself a dancing gnome. It's just a statue and it's see-through because it's made of glass, clear glass. This process seemed to take forever as she repeated each step in the process endlessly. I've cut almost all of it out to just give you a few seconds of each of the steps. Eventually she completed her gnome and went off to have a bit of a sleep as she was so tired, having just returned from university. I decided to display the gnome she'd just made, but they're very difficult to see. They're clear, colourless glass. I bought another end table, one that came with the Supernatural pack, and put it at the end of this room near the windows and placed a little gnome and a vase of flowers on it. There's the gnome. Having that darkness behind it makes it easier to see. And those blue hydrangeas, they're custom content. I'm a bit worried that I might be tempted to make this garden a bit too big. At this moment, Wilma is planting some of the seeds she picked up while she was in the university world. I'll get them to empty their inventories gradually, and this is part of that process. And she's also, of course, learning the gardening skill. I do like them all to get up to level 10 gardeners. And then Wilma had to go and empty her inventory of its gems and metals, and that's what she's doing at the moment. She's smelting metals. I won't get her to make anything at this point though. As you may be aware, I usually play with households with lots of Sims in them, a lot more than the 8 that we're allowed normally with this game. As a result, when I make a Sim, I try to keep them as small as possible. That means they only get a single version of each of the outfits. However, for some reason, Wilma has ended up with 3 different versions of her everyday outfit. You've seen her in 2 of them just here now, and there is one more where she's got green shoes and a skirt. It's sort of a greenish outfit, and now she's doing her gem cutting, the gem cutting machine. All of those drawings on the wall were done by the 3 Sims who were doing their fine arts degree when at university, emptied their inventories as well. And I put their sketchbooks in the household inventory. Couldn't find anywhere else I could hide them. They wouldn't keep sitting down and sketching. Harry is the Sim I'm concentrating on at the moment. He's got to go back to university to complete his degree. The others all finished theirs in the last semester that they were there. He's got a very small amount of work to do before his degree is completed. And to complete his lifetime wish, he needs to get to level 10 in Alchemy and throw elixirs at 50 Sims. So I'm keeping him busy making elixirs and learning elixirs. And in order to make the elixirs, he needs ingredients. That leads to him doing a lot of gardening, and he has to go and find gems and catch insects, and he even has to do a bit of fishing because fish are required for at least one of his elixirs. I'm going to send him to the university world alone with hopefully an inventory full of elixirs ready to throw at unsuspecting Sims at university. Most of them are vials of bliss, but he's got a few nasty ones as well, such as a couple of zombification elixirs and a few others. He hasn't made a huge variety of different elixirs, but he's working on learning them. He's got 2 problems with making all the different elixirs. He needs the correct ingredients, and he needs to learn the recipes. And the way to learn the recipes is mostly by reading the elixir book, but he can also learn a few of them by buying elixir recipes from the bookstore and reading those recipes. And he'll be doing that as well. He'll read the recipes for all of the elixirs that are available in the bookstore. And I do have a few extras that don't come with the Supernatural expansion pack. They're custom elixirs. If you have Supernatural and you see him making an elixir that you've never seen made by one of your Sims and didn't know existed, assume it's from a mod. There's about 4 or 5 of them, I think. Marie has joined the music career. She's at level 1 and she's brought a book home that she's got to read for an opportunity, and she's lying on her bed to read the book. Trying to get to show you a little bit about her bedroom. That diploma on the wall just above the bedside table is what she got when she graduated from university with her fine arts degree. I put a sketchbook on the bedside table to start with, but she didn't leave it alone, so it had to go in the family inventory. It ends if they've got the sketchbook in their inventory, in their own inventory, they just constantly sit down and draw. And you get thousands of sketches, and I don't like deleting them. I have to hang them on the wall. So I ended up with walls plastered with sketches. So stick it in the inventory. She can paint paintings and sell them. I suppose she could sell the sketches as well, but anyway, I've decided she's not having her sketchbook at this point. Besides, she's in the music career. She doesn't need to draw and paint. Enid needed to improve her charisma, so I sent her to the library. She go and get a skill book and sit and read it in the library, where things will happen faster for her. We'll leave her there reading her book. Several of the Sims are keen to improve various skills, and I'm mostly sending them off to class, but I chose to send Enid to the library to read the appropriate skill book. Random social interactions happen in the household from time to time, autonomously, and it seems these two have decided to enjoy a quiet moment before they do the school cheer. I recently added the exercise equipment to the house. I had to extend their basement a little to make room for it, and it was going to mean a huge walk, the full length of the building, to get to the doorway, and there was no common area to get to this room. So the thing I did was the 3 Sims whose bedrooms are along the adjoining wall to the gym, I put an extra doorway in each of their bedrooms. Carolyn, Wilma and Katie can just walk through one of those white doors that leads to their own bedroom, instead of having to walk past all of the other bedrooms and through the kitchen and along past the staircase to finally get to the door at the end, which would take them into this area, and then have to walk all the same distance to the other end room where I've put the gym. Just saves a lot of getting to the exercise equipment when they need to work out and they're in their bedrooms. Katie's found a quiet spot in the kitchen to do some reading. They're all reading skill books and recipes as required. We're all working hard on building skills, learning recipes, and getting their lifetime happiness points up to get lifetime rewards. Carolyn and Wilma needed to go and find some seeds to satisfy some of their wishes to get their lifetime happiness points up as well. Wilma's happily met one of the locals and they're having a chat while Carolyn enjoys a phone call. This game is not linked to my big game, so the only Sims in it are household members and Sims that came with sunlit tides, or world adventures. I suppose we could see some travellers occasionally. Wilma is in the painting career now, and she keeps doing a lot of painting. Her painting skill is getting up there. She hasn't sold anything yet. I'm getting her to keep all of her paintings for the moment, so she's still at level 1 in the painting career. But when I start selling her work, I'm sure she'll scoot up to the top of the career quite quickly. That's the car that's come for Katie to go to work in the criminal career. I suppose that's the paparazzi there complaining at the front door. I've started resetting those sort of Sims that just stand at the door and shout and complain about not being able to get in. Here she comes, there's Katie off to work. Yeah, in the last episode I complained because she started at level 1 in the criminal career instead of at level 4, because she had a business degree and was supposed to benefit from that. Now I think she is benefiting, because in no time at all she's gone from level 1 to level 5 in that criminal career. So I'm sure that they don't usually advance that quickly. I'll get somebody to come out and collect those things that are appearing in their yard. Here she is, she's got to work. She's just going up the hill to the criminal lair, which is up on top of that mountain, and going in. It's a rabbit hole, so we can't go in with her, but we might get a peek at it from the outside. Oh, it looks good there with all the lights on. That's the criminal lair. Back at home, Sims are working on their skills. I think that was quite a useless skill that Gary just got from the Tree of Prosperity. It's usually riding a horse or something. I don't usually play with horses. I do sometimes, but not often. So Carolyn's hungry and she can't wash her plate because Marie is upgrading the sink to self-cleaning because Marie wanted to, and it was a way to improve the handiness and stopping them from having to keep cleaning the sink all the time. I'm contemplating sending them to various world adventure worlds because some of them are getting opportunities to travel, and I've placed quite a few objects from Into the Future expansion pack in this household. I don't usually play with those things. I usually just ignore the Into the Future objects, but decided to play with them this time. So their advanced technology skill is increasing, and I'm also thinking about sending them off to the future world occasionally. Nothing like keeping my eye off the ball and taking them off doing things other than go to university, but I think it might be fun, simply because Into the Future is an expansion pack I've not played with much. Haven't played with it at all for a few years actually. This is a fishing spot. The horses are there, and I have sent Gary to go fishing because he needs fish for his elixirs that he's making. Again, Gary hasn't sold any elixirs yet, so although he's round the top of the alchemy skill, he has not advanced in his career at all. A bit like Wilma hasn't advanced in her painting career, they're both still at level 1. But I want to keep his elixirs in his pocket because I want him to get his lifetime wish first. And to get the lifetime wish, he's got to throw elixirs at 50 sims. And to get to the top of the alchemy career, he's got to sell the elixirs. And they're sort of one or the other. You can't throw them if you've sold them. So I'm about to send him off to uni with an inventory full of elixirs so he can throw them at the students at the university world. There is a badge for throwing elixirs at a lot of sims, but I got that a few years ago, so we can't get that badge. This is a very tiny lot, this fishing hole, just on the beach. That's what I grew up with. There was the beach, just like home, to see that scene there. Except we had more islands, and no horses on the beach, of course, unless somebody's going for a ride, which doesn't happen often. Just offshore, just a couple, to make it pretty, break the monotony of the horizon. Still go up there occasionally. This world sunlit tide is very much like where I grew up. Those bugs were near the fishing hole. He needs them for elixirs, so he's going out catching bugs and butterflies and fishing. He doesn't need that bird, but I might get him to catch it anyway. I used to put the birds in cages, but I don't anymore because they die too quickly, so I usually just sell them. He's going up the mountain to get some seeds. We might enjoy the view from the top of the mountain when he gets there. There's a resort at the top of the mountain. It's not an actual resort, this is a store world, so they can't do things that are part of expansion packs other than the base game, but it's like a resort. I suppose you could put the resort front desk in it if you wanted to turn it into one. It's all so much like home. He's steaming vegetables on the sauna. I don't do that very much either, but I do have the sauna. Well, obviously I do because there it is. And she's going to steam her vegetables there as well. She's one of the townies. You won't see any of my own sims that you will pick up as townies in other stories, because in this particular story I've only got the household of 7. They're the only sims of mine that are in this world. The rest are sims generated by the game or that came with the world Sunlit Tides. Mostly they came with the world Sunlit Tides. Beautiful sunset. I'll send Gary home. He's had quite an afternoon fishing and finding insects and things for his alchemy career. He'll be able to make some different elixirs now because he's got some fish. He's still got a lot of elixir recipes to learn though. It's getting very dark. Going into the toilets to wash his plate. You know, I thought that was going to get rid of the dirty plate, but then this townie sim got up and left her dirty plate there, so I suppose I'll clean up automatically overnight. I won't just sit there forever. Back at home, James and Marie are playing table tennis. He's got a wish to win 5 games. He's only won a couple of games, so I'll have to get him playing more table tennis. But I guess that'll turn into a constant thing of winning more and more games, which I won't be very happy about. This game turning into an endless table tennis tournament. Got other things for James to do. There's Wilma back at work painting, solving their hunger problem. Here he is making more elixirs. He can't go back to university until he's got at least 50 elixirs in his inventory. And then when he comes back from university, he'll be making elixirs again that he can sell them. Because the whole reason for this elixir thing is he is in the game to get the badge for ranting about death until the Reaper arrives. So that means he'll die, and I won't be able to control him, and I might want to keep him, because he'll be quite a very skilled sim by the time that happens. And there is the Philosopher's Stone, which is a lifetime happiness reward, or when they get to the top of the elixir career, or elixir skill, I just forget which, he's going to do both, so we probably still won't work it out. There's an opportunity string where he's got to go and look for a few things, and at the end of that, the reward is Philosopher's Stone. So if the Philosopher's Stone is in the household, when he dies and becomes a ghost, somebody else in the household will be able to use the Philosopher's Stone to add him to the household, or to bind the ghost, and then you can control him, add him to the household, or at least get him to eat ambrosia and put him back into the household. I've done that before with a ghost, and it worked like a treat. It's great. So that's why I'm getting him to get to the top of the alchemy career and the alchemy skill as well. I think there's about 3 opportunities that pop up, one after the other, and then you get the Philosopher's Stone. I've had it happen with a lot of my sims. As a matter of fact, some of my sim households have got 8 or more Philosopher's Stones, which they got that way. There's Katie home from work. Going to go out and sit in the dark. She's probably going to try to read a book. Silly sim. Fancy reading a book in the dark. He needs honey for his elixirs as well. This is Gary. And there's beehives at the back of the elixir consignment store. It came with the supernatural expansion pack. So he's there, he's smoking the bees, and he's cleaning the beehive, and he'll feed the bees, and then he will get his honey, harvest the honey. If the bees don't chase him and sting him. I don't know why he's decided to be half nude. There's not much protection for him against bee stings. He's obviously got one of the traits where he's a daredevil, I think. That might be why he's doing this. Because normally they get all suited up in this head to foot suit with the net over their faces to avoid bee stings. But he's just stripped off to his shorts. I'm sitting here wondering if he's going to end up with a massive number of bees chasing him and him screaming with covered in bee stings, because that does happen quite often in this game. There he is smoking the bees. That puts them to sleep a bit. Doesn't always have the desired effect though. Now he's going to harvest the honey. He gets honey and beeswax when he does that. He needs them for his elixirs. There's a second beehive there, so he can do the same with it, but we won't watch that one happen. He doesn't get chased by the bees this day. I like the elixir consignment store because you get lots of insects there as well. And when you go inside, you can make the elixirs in there because there's an elixir machine in there as well. I've placed this one into Sunlit Tides because I got Sunlit Tides from the store, and the elixir store came with Supernatural expansion pack. It's good to come to this shop, to this store. It's good to come to this store at night as well, because you can often get fireflies here. And he needs fireflies for his elixirs as well. He's heading home on his motorbike. They share that motorbike. There he goes on the shared motorbike. Belongs to them all. The whole household seems to use that bike. Oh, it's a quick trip home. Or was he going home? Where is he? He's not turned up at home. Oh, he's gone to the coffee house. I thought he was going home. He's obviously got an opportunity there. Got to talk to somebody, talk to the proprietor. He got 4,070 simoleons for that. It's probably delivered his fish or something, or some harvestables I've forgotten now. So he's back working on his alchemy. These two are having a little chat. Nice blue sky with the greenhouse in the background. Not much happening there. She scared her. I wondered what that was all about. At least she didn't use the megaphone. Enid had a wish to buy a horseshoe court, so we bought one. So now she's going to have to use it. That's practice horseshoes. I don't think she's done this before. No, she's not very good at it. Hello, we've got 2 of them painting. I think that's a Botticelli work that Wilma is trying to reproduce, and Marie is working on the local scenery. When Wilma starts producing duplicates of paintings, I will sell the duplicates. I sent Katie off to the summer festival thinking she might pick a few wildflowers, but she found the skating rink and she decided she'd skate in spite of having a bamboo tree growing up in the middle of it. I think I had a vague idea that if they actually went to the summer festival occasionally, it might encourage the game to give us a summer gnome, because I'm still still looking for the badge to get the 4 seasonal gnomes, and I've had no luck buying them with festival tickets at the festival. She can do that, and I have read that they've got to be awarded. You can't just go buy them, although I've also read that people have got them from just going out and buying them, so we'll see. But I don't hold out much hope that sending Katie skating at the summer festival will get us a summer gnome. Carolyn, when she got home from work, decided to start a painting. Marie's obviously given up for a while, but she's doing well. I was intrigued that Carolyn was painting very pale, almost white on white. I have to come back later and see what she's doing. I think it's a pretty common painting. It's just that she's not using much interesting colour just yet. Wilma's making some progress. You can actually see what she's doing. I'd love to see that one finished. Somewhat later, and Marie has returned, and Wilma has made quite a lot of progress. I've got Gary to buy some elixir recipes from the store, because there are a few elixirs that you can't use by studying alchemy from the alchemy table. And I've also got some additional alchemy recipes that came from my mod. And of course, I can't remember which ones came with the game and which ones came with the mod. So that's it. He's going to be learning lots of recipes. Oh no, there's a zombie out there. Hope nobody goes outside and gets attacked. Remember how I said I was working more with the advanced technology skill? Well, Wilma had a wish to program a new recipe into the food synthesizer. I didn't have a food synthesizer in the house, so I set up another little kitchen in one of the basements lower down so she could program a recipe into the food synthesizer, something I've never got a sim to do previously, at least not that I can remember. The reason I'm getting these sims to do so many varied tasks is because I'm trying to fulfill their wishes, as many as possible, to get their lifetime happiness points up, to get them lots of lifetime happiness rewards. Wilma went right back to painting when she had completed her work with the food synthesizer. She's got lots of wishes, very lucrative wishes, for her various painting achievements. Of course, she is in the painting career, and I've not let her sell anything yet, so she's still at level 1. But when I start selling things, I think she'll get to level 10 fairly quickly. Wilma's still got quite a way to go before she can plant all of the different seed types. The garden is still at a manageable size, but since they've been planting extra seeds, I think I'll soon have to be hiring the gardeners. There's a mod for the gardener service. If you search Google for Mod The Sims Gardener Service, you will find it. James has wanted to sculpt a clay sculpture for quite a while, and some of the others are starting to wish to sculpt as well. So I decided it was time to set up an area for sculpting, and they might as well do inventing as well. And I added 3 all-in-one bathrooms around their sculpting and inventing objects, because both skills in sculpting and inventing often result in the sim doing the activity becoming set on fire. This is the bottom basement. This is what I set out for the trees, and although it looks like the trees are poking through the floor, they're not. That floor doesn't actually exist. As you can see, it's 2-level open space there just for the trees. And also the wishing well, because sometimes sims float up high through the floor when they get wishes and things like that. You can see up top there, that's where I put the food synthesizer and the extra little kitchen. I don't know that they need that sink there, because they put their dirty plates into the food synthesizer and they get taken care of that way. Katie's downstairs watering the garden while James is still working on his sculpture. I moved all of the trees that had grew out of the seeds they've recently planted up in the other garden up in the next level. I think that's a couple of money trees that she's just watered just then, the little ones. Here comes Wilma. So she's decided to use the food synthesizer to get something to eat rather than the fridge upstairs in the kitchen, in the main kitchen. Oh, she's got her favourite meal. James has got to get to the top of the science skill so we can put the group science project in that empty space there. It's on the other side of the windows of fishiness. Here's Enid. She's got a couple of gems to cut. She hasn't got any cut gems experience yet, so she can only do emerald cut or get gem dust. I don't usually ask them to create gem dust because they get gem dust as a byproduct of all of the other cuts. But if you are trying to get the badge for cutting all different types of gem cuts with the gem cutting machine, then you will need to do the gem dust as well. She can put her cut gems away in the cabinet that came with Supernatural. It's for the elixirs, but Gary's not putting his elixirs in the cabinet yet. Now James has finished his sculpture. We've taken it upstairs. I think it was one of those guard dog things, and now Enid wanted to do some sculpting, so there she is. I always start with clay. I have ambitions to fill the house, or one of my Sims houses, with ice sculptures that never melt. I do have a group of sculptors who can do it. I just haven't set the game up yet to allow it to happen. I've discovered sculpting starts out pretty slow and it's a bit boring at first, but once they get established and can do ice sculptures that don't melt, which is I have to do 25 melting ice sculptures first, then it is an incredibly lucrative career to be in, the sculpting career. I don't have anybody in the sculpting career at the moment, but once Enid has got the fridge that she will get from getting to the top of the culinary career, she might go into the sculpting career, or it could be James once he's got the group science project from getting to level 10 in the science skill. Carolyn's practicing chess because she has a wish to improve her logic skill. Enjoying the sunset and the scenery around sunlit tides from their point of view of their house. And that's their house just there. It's a strange shape because I started the house and then I built the basement and then I put stairs up from the ground to the basement, and the stairs from the basement were coming up in the middle of the yard, so I built a long hallway to go from the steps to the main part of the house where the front door is. Katie is doing one of her autonomous activities. She has got the avant-garde trait, which makes her want to go around the place critiquing anything that she considers might be a work of art. She also wants to improve her advanced technology skill, so I set her to work playing a game on her little computer. That seems to give her more advanced technology. Here's the gardeners arriving for their first day at work. I've had to unlock the front door and set it to the front door too, to make sure they use that door. If the door's locked, they can't get in and they just go away and your garden never gets taken care of. And if you've unlocked the front door but it isn't designated as the front door, they'll walk around to the back of the house or wherever the door that is designated as the front door is, and now they can't get into it. They'll just leave. It's a bit annoying sometimes, but I find it safest to designate the door that I want to be the front door as the front door when I've hired the gardeners. I usually search for Sims 3 gardening service. It's on Mod The Sims, and it's the second version of it. It gives you the older version of this mod only provides 2 gardeners, but the latest version of the mod will give you as many gardeners as you need to get the job done. And what they do is they fertilizer and weed and water and harvest, and when the day is over they put all the harvested items in the fridge. So you just got to go to the fridge to get them out if you want anything. And even if at the end of the day they're still working and it looks like there's heaps of gardening still left to do, there's a little bit of code runs that just makes all the garden ready, done, completed. Because they're so efficient, they were leaving every day, and there was never any gardening that my own Sims could do because there was never anything left to do other than dispose of perfectly good plants. So I use the telephone to make it so they don't do the weeding after a while, so that I can at least get my Sims to continue building their gardening skill by weeding their garden. After a while, once everybody's up to level 10 in their gardening skill, I will make it so that the gardening service will weed the gardens again. You can't use cell phone, you have to use a phone that sits on the table to call the gardening service. There's Gary still working hard on his elixirs. I don't think he's got 50 elixirs in his pocket yet, but I'm going to have to send him off to uni if we're going to get him to go this episode. So I shall send him off shortly, and then it'll be the end of the video, and he might find himself making more elixirs when he's at university. As Gary gains more skill with making his elixirs, he makes more of them, he gets more efficient, and he's now making 3 at a time. So he had 50 elixirs or more very quickly. So he did his university entrance test, and And then he was ready to go, and we sent him off to university all by himself. The Sims who had just gone to work suddenly returned. Carolyn and Marie had just left for work not long before Gary headed off to uni. They must have come home especially to wave goodbye to him. He's got a lot more work to do than I anticipated. I thought he'd almost finished his degree. Considering he's spent as much time at uni and worked as hard as all of the others, and 3 of his friends who had exactly the same amount of time at uni got their degrees and he didn't. And now he's got to go back, but I'm only sending him for 1 week. I don't know if I'd cope with having a single sim at uni for 2 weeks. He can always return later on if he doesn't graduate this time. But he's going armed with elixirs. He's got more than 50, so he's going to be throwing elixirs at other sims as part of the entertainment for having him on his own at university. Yeah, he's ready, off he goes. And they're waving goodbye to him. Yeah, Enid came home from work as well. I'd forgotten about her. Everybody came home from work to wave goodbye to him. That was nice of them. And I managed to save before he got to uni so I could go back to this point if something terrible happens at university. When he arrives at university, I'll do a save as and give the game a different name. So it is possible to go back to where he was at before he left home for uni. I will accept most shocking happenings, but not total game corruption and loss. I like to always have somewhere to go back to. Here he is, travelling to uni. And he's arrived. I'll put him in the same dorm as usual because I've been upgrading it slowly and I'd hate him to end up in another house that I haven't upgraded at all. We even started getting Sims to upgrade the plumbing fixtures and fittings to self-cleaning. One part of me wants to go and explore all of the houses and dorms. The other part of me wants to stick with the same one so we can take advantage of all the extra things we've added to this one. It's Mullen House. He'll soon have 7 roommates with him, which is totally different to last semester where we had 1 roommate and 7 household members. That's his class schedule. He's got a full schedule and I thought he'd only have a couple of subjects. Not to worry. We'll still find time to get him to throw elixirs around, especially since I've only got 1 sim to worry about. Don't know what he's doing over in the bushes. Decided to drop his suitcase there in amongst the bushes. Oh well, I guess his Bert transferred everything that was in his suitcase to his pocket, so he's right. Oh look, he threw his first elixir. Now he's got a friend. It was a potent friendship elixir he used. And he also went and got extra funding. He got 2,500 simoleons. So that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And we'll see you in the next episode where we'll be all about Gary at university. Bye for now and happy simming.